Good morning, everyone. It is Brenda Sanchez. I am the co-author of the best-selling book, Life's Real Currency. I am a retired Air Force major, 27 years in the Air Force, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Trey today, who served in the infantry on the honor guard, which is really cool. We had a conversation last week, and he served at Arlington. So I'm super excited to have him on today and share what he did in the service and what he's doing now, because he's doing digital marketing now. So we kind of do similar things. You get people in the door and I help make them stick.
Right.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Trey. Let me know what your background is. Obviously infantry guardsman, but that was a really cool conversation we had last week. So can you share with the audience what it is you did?
Yeah, that was a really special time in my life, and I was honored to be selected for the old guard of the Army, the Army's honor guard, the premier ceremonial unit of the Army, and the oldest active infantry regiment.
Wow.
They're stationed on Arlington, Virginia, near Washington, D.C., a stone's throw from the Pentagon and the Capitol. And our mission was to lay the final honors for fallen soldiers. And there was all branches of service there. Arlington National Cemetery is a huge plot.
Huge.
Hundreds of thousands of burial grounds.
Yeah. 100,000. There's, how many acres is it? Do you know?
Not by acreage, but by square miles, it's at least 7.
Wow. Yeah, it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's right by the Pentagon. Amazing views of Washington, D.C. on the 4th of July.
Yeah. I bet. Well, I know. I served at the Pentagon, my first assignment, and then at NSA. So as we were talking last week, that's exactly where I started my career. So it's pretty cool that that's where you had your career, was right there in D.C.
It's where it began as well.
Yes. Yeah. So what did you learn in the military, especially in the honor guard, that has helped you today, and what have you done since you got out? I know now you're doing digital marketing, but share your journey with us and how you got to where you are today.
Oh, wow. The Army was an amazing learning experience for myself, working with people from all around the world, and really the top of the tier of the infantry and in the old guard. They were some of the best leaders that I ever had. And officers from West Point were not uncommon there. So it was a pretty fantastic learning experience. Just the camaraderie, the sheer level of respect that we had for each other, and our mission went to show a lot about how our character can reveal a lot about what we intend to do. Well, I got out of the infantry. I got out of the Army in 2015, about 6.5 years after I joined, and I landed in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Good place to land.
Yeah, beautiful city, gorgeous mountain views, awesome sunrises. I actually remember getting LASIK surgery, walking out of the hospital and seeing the mountains for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Without any correction.
Wow.
It was incredible. They're gorgeous.
Way better than DC, where the hustle and bustle, probably 50 people per square inch. Well, that's a little exaggeration.
Built on a swamp.
Yeah.
So when they call it the swamp.
Yep. So what did you learn in the service? And you've been out now for 4 years. What have you done since you got out? And what advice would you give to somebody who's serving now? In their journey, either in the service or outside the service, if they're considering, do I stay or do I leave?
So in the Army, I learned the spirit of camaraderie. Really, people, when they pair together, are much stronger than they are as individuals. And so the spirit of brotherhood, which includes women, men and women, it just goes so far to make us a stronger community. And then I came to college when I got out of the military, because I had so much freedom now. I was for once, for the first time in my life, because I joined when I was 18, I was on my own, and my life was up to me to decide. And so what I decided was to fill my head with knowledge and to meet people in the same spirit of community and brotherhood. And it's not as common in the civilian sector, but you can definitely find some people to communicate with.
Yes. So you talked about having freedom when you got out, and we talked about this last week. It's so structured in the service versus you get out and the only structure you have is you and the structure you put in place. But we talked about it last week on Friday, and we feel that by having that structure, that solid structure in the service, that you are more apt to be successful in business because you know how to follow a structure and to set a structure. Exactly. So you want to talk about that?
So you're disciplined. You have discipline ingrained in your heart, in your spirit, in your way of life. And so getting out of the military can be a huge transition for everybody who gets out. I don't care if you were in for 27 years
right,
or if you went for 7 years.
It doesn't matter. It's a totally different way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us, unfortunately, we fall flat on our heads, and we get out, and it's more than we anticipate handling for ourselves for the first time in a long time for most of us. Mm-hmm. And so unfortunately many veterans experience homelessness or dependency in situations where they are not comfortable, they're unfamiliar, and it's really unfortunate case. So one of the things I started working on when I went to college was a nonprofit organization for the housing and rehabilitation of veterans.
Right.
Mostly transitioning veterans and veterans experiencing homelessness. And that project is it's being lifted off the ground right now. But what I chose to focus in my field was marketing, business marketing, not only because as a service member, I got all the tools I needed to run a successful company because I received my independence. Even though my daily life was so structured and so rigid, my character actually benefited from that because I was able to think for myself in this system that I was a part of. Well, now that I got out, I'm still able to think for myself. I have strong opinions, but I don't try to force anything. I don't try to force my way in anything. So what I'm trying to say is that the business environment is set up so people can succeed as long as they apply certain practices.
Right.
One of those practices that we talked about is relationships.
Right.
Community.
It's so important.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest lessons I took from the military that now I apply today in business.
Awesome. And you talked about the homeless, and we talked about this last week and the nonprofit that you're working on. And we were talking about how veterans are lost when they get out, like you said. And it's that they don't know, take honor guard infantry. Now, yes, I did do cyber and computers, and I'm still doing kind of tech stuff, but many people that are in the service don't know how to transfer those skills into a civilian job or into a business of their own. They don't know how to take those because many are serving in the infantry or on the front line, and they don't know how to make that adjustment and how to take those skills, because the skills that you learn in the service, no matter what you're doing, are applicable on the outside in some form or fashion in some career field.
Yeah, all of the lessons of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty, duty, honor, respect, self-service, integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go through all of them.
Yeah, no. We'd be here all day. But you get the idea.
Yeah, it's all of those things are equally transferable. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to feel like you have no resources because you are given all the tools you need to thrive. It's just making that adjustment of I'm applying this now to the organization, and after I get out, I am now applying it to my life, myself. And it's up to you, honestly. It's totally your choice, but it can be one that is faced with obstacles and barriers that we are unfamiliar with because we have so much support in the military we now are outside of that support. And it's not to say that we have none. There are many organizations
there are tons
that support veterans.
Especially here in Colorado Springs. So if you're here in Colorado Springs, we have Mount Carmel. We have lots of different veteran organizations. We have 2 veteran networking groups. So if you are in business, whether you're an employee or own your own business, we have VetNet, which is Veterans Networking Group, and we have MRE, which is Military Relationship Exchange. There's lots of TREA, there's the Military Officers Association is here. There are so many organizations, and many organizations helping the homeless and transitioning. There's Nanette, PrepNet, Prep 360, I think is what it's called. Is that right? Have you met Nanette yet, Mueller?
Sounds really familiar.
I'll put it down in the comments below because I'm not remembering the exact name, but it's basically Prep 360, I think is what it's called, and it helps you to transition out of the service into the civilian world and into a job or being an entrepreneur. So there's so many resources. The thing is reaching out. In the service, we have tons of resources. You're taught to reach out and find those resources in the service. You're taught to find a way to go around, over, under, through the wall, whatever. You just have to do the same thing in the civilian world. So any last parting words that you want to leave with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely, Brenda, thank you. And thanks for having me on today. I just wanted to say that our skills are transferable, but because we don't have that rigid structure in place, doesn't mean that there is no structure.
Right.
Now, there's plenty of support groups like we just covered, but the point I'm trying to make is that reaching out and asking for help is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
No, in fact, that's what makes us stronger. A connection, a network, a community of people who are there to support you, because they are there to support you no matter what branch of the military you served in.
Yeah, you know, Army, Air Force.
Yeah,
I can jive on them. I can.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun camaraderie between services.
There is.
And when I got out, I had a Marine and 2 other soldiers living in my house with me.
Oh, cool.
And it was really great experience for us to share our histories.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized is that there's a lot of malcontent with people getting out of the service, and they just feel like everything is on me now. Everything's on me. Everything's piling up.
It's not, though.
But we're saying that no, there's so much support going on, and it's not a bad thing to reach out and get help.
And with that, I think that's a great place to end. Reach out, get help. If you need help, reach out to Trey, reach out to myself. We can connect you with the resources as you're getting out of the service or transitioning. And this goes for spouses and dependents also. So if you're looking for resources in the area because your spouse is here and you don't know how to get connected, we can connect you. I can say that. Say that 3 times fast.
Can connect.
Can.
If you happen to be downtown in Colorado Springs and you stop by Rest Float Solutions, it's Colorado Springs' premier flotation therapy studio, and I happen to be working, and you mentioned that you found me on this ad or you saw this ad, I'll give you a float. I'll let you float for free. It's a great technique to train your mind and to allow your body to decompress and relax and restore.
So I'm going to go one further, not just say, but comment below that you're going to go see him downtown at the float, what's it called?
It's called Rest Float Solutions.
Rest Float Solutions. So comment below. Make sure you let us know where you're watching from, and comment Rest Float below if you're here in Colorado Springs, and go see Trey. So with that, we will see you next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.